Hello everyone. We're happy to share a final project titled as Democracy, Trust and Transparency, a cross-national data visualization study. The project looks at how government quality, press freedom, and public trust differs across countries using real-world data. Our team, Bhaskar Akkena, Ritvik Pandillapally, and myself, Karthik Pachabatla, worked with data from 128 countries. We focused on key measures related to politics, income gaps, and public opinion, which blends solid analysis with simple, powerful visuals. In this presentation, we'll walk you through our process, the tools we use like Python and Tableau, and the key takeaways we found about how democracy connects to trust and openness around the world. Coming to project overview, this project looks at how democracy, governance, inequality, and public trust are connected around the world. We use the dataset with 12 key indicators from 128 countries, analyzing it with Python for deeper insights and Tableau for clear visual storytelling. Our main goal was to explore questions like, do democratic nations really have more press freedom? Does development lead to stronger institutions? And does income inequality reduce trust in government? What we found was that countries with stronger democratic values often ensure better press freedom, and those with less income inequality report higher levels of trust in their governments. We also saw a clear link between development and stronger institutions. These findings support some well-known ideas about global politics, but also highlights new patterns worth exploring further. Our research was shaped by three questions that helps us explore more deeper connections between global governance and public opinion. First, we asked, does democracy actually lead to greater press freedom, or are there cases where democratic countries still limit the media? This helped us explore the gap between how democracy is defined and how it works in practice. Second, we looked at economic inequality, measuring using Gini index, and asked, does greater income inequality reduce public trust in institutions, such as government and media, even in democratic nations? Third, we zoomed out to consider broader indicators like human development, access to healthcare, and institutional stability. We wanted to know, do better living conditions and stronger public systems lead to higher level of trust in government? These three questions guided our entire project and shaped how we analyze the data and build our visualizations. The dataset we used in both wide-ranging and insightful, making it perfect for comparing governance and trust across different countries. It includes data from 128 nations, each with its own unique political setup, economic status, and cultural context. This diversity allowed us to see whether the patterns we found were consistently global or varied by region. We worked with both measurable statistics and perception-based indicators. For instance, the Gini index helped us to track income inequality, while the HDI captured progress in education, healthcare, and living standards. At the same time, variables like press freedom and public trust, especially in institutions like government, media, and science, offered a window into how people feel about the system that governs them. By combining these different types of data, we weren't just analyzing surface level trends, we were able to dig into how people experience and perceive fairness, democracy, and institutional reliability. This made the dataset especially powerful for understanding the health of democracy and for shaping real world policy discussions around trust and reform. Now, Pawan will continue.
So I'll now explain to you why we chose Python and Tableau. We deliberately chose to use Python and Tableau because they complement each other. Python was invaluable for statistical visualization, such as the correlation heat maps and custom plots like violin plots and regression charts. It gave us very good control and precision. Tableau, on the other hand, allowed us to quickly create clean, digestible summaries, especially for average-based comparisons like press freedom by democracy level. Together, these tools balanced analytical depth and storytelling clarity. Through initial correlation analysis, we observed that countries with high income inequality often have lower trust in the government. This was one of the strongest negative relationships in the data. On the positive side, HDI or Human Development Index correlates with cleaner governance, and countries that trust media also tend to trust science. However, there are some notable outliers. The US, for example, is a highly developed democracy, but surprisingly, the trust in government is very low. These exceptions raised some interesting questions about the limits of these quantitative indicators. So, this Tableau chart clearly shows the connection between democracy and freedom. Countries scoring 3 or 4 on the democracy index, like Norway and Finland, consistently exhibit higher levels of press freedom. In contrast, countries like Turkey or Russia, with weaker democratic institutions, display low levels of press freedom, which is likely due to censorship and media control. This visualization validates the common democratic theory using real world data. Here, the correlation heat map, which was generated by Python, is presented here. It allowed us to quantify and visually compare how these metrics interact. As expected, development correlates with lower corruption, and higher press freedom strongly correlates with the democracy index scores. But the standout insights here was how inequality, which is measured by the Gini index, undermines trust in institutions. This suggests that addressing inequality isn't just an economic issue, it's a political issue.
So I'll continue.
This hist yeah. I
So,
think Ritvik will now continue with for the presentation.
so this histograph here it shows like how trust in government is distributed globally. Most countries fall in like the mid-range around like 45 to 70, but there are some outliers. For instance, despite political efforts, countries like Lebanon suffer from chronic public mistrust. Meanwhile, countries like Singapore and Switzerland enjoy high trust. This is likely due to the consistent governance and effective public services. Understanding these distributions help policymakers target where rebuilding trust is more urgent. So the key takeaways are clear. Democratic structures support a freer press. Inequality harms institutional trust, and development improves not just health and economics, but confidence in systems. Interestingly, trust in different institutions tend to rise or fall together, suggesting countries either have cohesive institutional legitimacy or struggle around the board. The next slide, yeah. While the data validates many expectations, it also exposes expectations. Some democracies actively restrict press freedom. Others may score high on democratic indexes but suffer from internal distrust. This highlights the limitation of purely numerical approaches. For richer understanding, combining this with a qualitative case study or multi-year data would provide much needed context. So, in conclusion, this project demonstrates that democracy is more than just a political structure. It's deeply connected to transparency, public trust, and institutional quality and development outcomes. This data clearly shows that stronger democracies tend to enjoy freer media, greater trust in science and government, and lower corruption perception. These aren't just coincidental, they reflect structural advantages that democratic systems often provide when functioning well. By combining the analytical capabilities of Python with the telling power of Tableau, we were able to make these abstract governance indicators come to life. Python allowed us to statistically validate patterns and identify significant correlations, while Tableau made those insights accessible through clean, intuitive visualizations. Looking ahead, we see opportunities to make this research even more interactive and localized. Future extensions could include dynamic dashboards that allow users to explore individual countries or compare regions side by side. We are also interested in investigating temporal shifts, how trust and governance metrics evolve over time in response to major events like elections, pandemics, or social movements. So these are some of our key differences that are grounded to validate our work. One of them we use is Transparency International, which was written in 2024. There are some others as well, like Reporters Without Borders, Edelman Trust Barometer, Knowledge Driving Democracy, and World War WGI in 2023. So that's it from our side. Thank you.